Framing simply means how you position things in the frame, in the composition. If you've done painting or drawing, you might have heard of composition, but even if you're just with, taking photos of a friend, if you choose to position one friend here and then one here, frame there, that's a certain kind of framing. But if you decide to put one friend here and then another friend, whoops, way back here, well, then you've just decided to frame them differently. If you had a big shrub over here, that's a different kind of framing. If you decide you want this big guy here, that's another kind of framing. It simply means where you put stuff in your frame. And this is the big rookie mistake, the hallmark of a bad director, is that they don't put any thought in their framing. They're like, oh, this guy is talking, so we're just gonna do a medium shot on him. That is so lame. And unfortunately, I see it all the time. So now you can frame something any way you want. It's just that some kinds of framing are so commonly used that we have names for them. So what I'm showing you is just some framing that is so frequently used that we've named them. So these are those setups. The first one is the full shot. Now remember I said the wide shot does not equal the full shot? This is what I mean. Pay attention. See how Thor here is from the top to the bottom. He is very much the subject of the frame. Nobody, when I put this up here, went like, oh, look, I see these little people over here. Yes, now that you look at it, you see, okay, yeah, there's some rocks here, some funky things back here, and apparently someone's like making dinner over there. But overwhelmingly, the subject of the shot fills the frame, and that subject is a human being, and we get in at least head to foot. Now, the reason people confuse it with a wide shot, or says they are the same thing, is because usually if you frame someone from head to foot, you've got to be at least at a wide shot, right? It's really hard to frame someone head to foot in a close-up. In fact, it's impossible. So full shots are usually wide shots. But wide shots are not necessarily full shots.
All right.
So if I asked you, what size is this? What would folks say?
Extreme wide shot, no?
Definitely not extreme.
Okay.
I would call this a wide shot. Okay? Now, if I asked you for the size of this, what would you call that? What size? Remember, it gets head to toe and a lot of environment around it.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it looks like the full shot.
Full shot is not a size. I'm asking about size.
Oh, size. I'm sorry.
It is a very wide shot.
It's not even a very wide shot. It's a wide shot. So this is a wide shot and this is a wide shot. Because when I say size, I mean wide or close, right?
Oh, got you. Okay. All right.
But now I'm talking about, remember we're talking about framing.
Got you.
Now, if a full shot means it's framed so that a human being takes up most of the frame and they're framed head to toe, is this a full shot?
No.
I mean, the card takes up most of the space, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is not a full shot.
Mhm.
Ah, the stupid pen. Oh, whoop. Right. So let me do that again. Remember, the definition of a full shot is It's basically head to toe, and it takes up basically the entire height of the frame. So this guy, head, toe, yep, check, check. Take up almost from top to bottom, check. That's a full shot.
Okay.
Now
And
let's,
this is a human being too, right? So the car couldn't,
exactly.
okay.
You got head, toe, but does he take up anywhere near the whole frame? No. And so if I asked you for framing on this, the second one down here, if I asked you what's the framing for this, you'd be able to easily tell me, oh, it's a full shot. If I asked you what's the framing on this, the answer should be, I don't know. And that's because this doesn't have a name. The only reason this framing has a name is we use it so much, we decided to give it a name.
Oh.
This, I think, is a beautifully composed frame. It's just that it's not a full shot. And that's the thing. There's not a name for every kind of composition out there.
Okay.
But there are ones that we use so much, we've given them their own names, and full shot is one of those. The next one is called the over the shoulder shot. If you watch a movie and turn the sound off, you are going to be blown away by how many over the shoulder shots they are. And quite simply, it means the camera is placed behind one person and is looking over that shoulder onto another subject. It could be birthday cake, whatever. It could be a crown, it could be a dog, doesn't matter. If you're looking over the shoulder of this character, the back of their head, that's an over the shoulder shot. Now, what gets tricky is that people have you rarely see this much of the person in the over the shoulder shot. This is a lot of shoulder. So it's usually more like this much of the frame is taken up. But you will find absolutely, you will see situations where it's literally like that much of the frame is taken up. Just the earlobe or just a little bit of the shoulder like that. So you do absolutely have to watch the edges of your frame. And the reason we do this isn't just because we think it's cool, but first of all, it lets us know how close these people, how close or far apart these people are from each other, just spatially. In the movie, are they 5 feet apart? Are they 2 feet apart? It also demonstrates that there is some sort of relationship between them. If they're talking, I don't care if they're two strangers, but if they're talking, they now have some sort of relationship. So spatially it's helpful, and relationship-wise it's helpful. And we use it so much that somewhere along the line we decided to give it a name, and over the shoulder shot is the name we gave it. So another shot that obviously shows relationship is the two shot. Do not think that just because there are 2 people in the shot, it's a 2 shot. It doesn't work that way. They have to be framed similarly. So this guy and this guy are pretty much both in a medium to a mid shot, medium to a cowboy, right? Now, if this little guy over here, they said, okay, take 20 steps back, go hang out by the hedges. So now he's this big, and this kid is way closer to the camera, like that. That is not a 2 shot. Even if they're the only 2 in the shot, it's not a 2 shot. They're framed differently. Similarly, if they decided that they asked this kid to walk right in front of the camera, and now he's like, hi. That's also not a 2 shot because he's in a close-up, and this kid is almost in a cowboy. They have to be framed similarly. This kid's laying down on the ground, not a two-shot. That makes sense to people?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Right, got full shot, over the shoulder, two-shot. Now we're moving on to, so if an over the shoulder connotes relationship and a two-shot, obviously they're next to it, you're showing them together, that is a relationship. The opposite of that is a single. A single isolates a person, usually in a close-up, actually always in a close-up or medium, on their face. And it achieves, it isolates a person. For instance, in this scene, this is from Jaws. And just a few seconds before this, this guy, Quint, was hanging around with two other guys. They were getting drunk and talking about ex-girlfriends. And then, all of a sudden, this guy, Quint, hears something. And because he's the experienced one, the other two don't notice. So they're still in their fun frame of mind. But this guy is now alone in that he knows the boat is in trouble. And so instead of showing him with his chums, right? Like, oh, we're all in this together. They show him alone. And he uses the single to isolate him. He's excluded from the happy days that the other two are having. And I will show you a dinner table scene that you could turn off the sound and still understand the power dynamics just by Guy Ritchie's choice of over the shoulders, two shots, and single. It's pretty amazing.